Okay, hello everyone, good evening. Now this is a very interesting video because I'm not sure which way it's going to go. My name is Amma Manson. Check me out on YouTube. You can follow my page, you can like the Facebook page. There is also an Instagram page you can follow. So I am developing a presence on the social media channels. I think the exception remains Snapchat. That's for later. I've not conquered the rest yet. And there's another one. Anyway, we will worry about those ones later. But you can find me on Facebook, you can find me on Instagram, and you can find me on YouTube. So today I actually want to address a request from one of my favorite young men, and he wanted me to talk about marriage. Well, our youngest is turning 13 this year, so we've been married for quite a while. I don't know the success of that marriage or not. We would decide long term, but we're still going. And I would like to answer this young man's questions. So question number one, how do you know who to marry? Well, you actually don't know anything guaranteed, but you can see flags. You definitely can see red flags when you are in a relationship with somebody. A person who treats you with respect, you will pick up on his interactions with you. A person who trusts your opinion, you will find that he's willing to let you lead on certain things. You will find that she is willing to delegate certain things to you. The person is happy to go with your discretion on certain things. Then you know this person actually does trust your instincts. That person does respect your opinion because he seeks it or she seeks it. That is absolutely critical. Absolutely critical. Because if a partner does not value you, if a partner looks down on your opinion, you can tolerate it for a while, and as the months roll into years and the years roll by into decades, it grates on your nerves. It makes it very difficult to pretend that it's not okay. And so it is much better in the early days for you to acknowledge this is okay, this is not okay. It's called setting ground rules. We all come to marriage with expectations. I think it's only fair that the partner actually knows what it is that you are looking for in this relationship. Where are you planning to go? How many children would you like to have? Would you like any? So in my head, I only ever wanted 2 children. Only ever. My husband, well, he has 4 sisters, so he was looking for 5. It was interesting when we first discussed it. I said to him, I only want 2. He says, hey, I want 5. I'm like, ooh, we have to compromise at some point. We will see how it goes. Thankfully for me though, when we had the first kid and the reality of what it meant to be parents to this tiny little thing hit, he almost did not want a second. And at that time, we had to renegotiate. I'm like, no. We said we will have at least a sibling for this one. And ever since, it's become a joke. Every time I want to tease him, I ask him again. So when are we having the 3 other kids? He laughs about it and we move on. But compromise is important. You have to be open to talk. You have to own up to your truth. You have to tell your partner what it is you want. Do you want 10 children? Do you want 5? How does that fit in with your partner's grand scheme? The other thing you also need to share with each other is your long-term dreams. What is important to you? What makes you tick? What makes you feel a failure? And what would make you feel like you've achieved something? In life, we all like that feeling of achievement. It tends to happen a lot with women. We stay back and we let the men go. We let them develop. They have a career. We bow out to have children, blah, blah. And most of the other women make it seem so effortless. But I dare say it's actually not that effortless for a lot of women. I am a woman, I've had a child, I tried to stay home, I wanted to stay back on a career, and in honesty, it would have led me towards depression. I had to realize the early symptoms, the early signs very quickly, and to sit my partner down and tell him, look, I am not that kind of woman. I am not the kind of woman who would be able to stay home. It challenges my mental health. It is not good for me. It will become difficult for you to live with me because I will feel so depressed. So it is better that I go out. It is better that I also go to sweat it out. It's better that I go live life the way I set out to do so. And once I come home, I am more fulfilled. I can immerse myself fully when I'm at home, when I'm going to do other things as well. I can never be a stay-at-home mom. So we had that discussion, we came to that understanding. And the minute I actually opened my mouth to voice out, he says, I know. I did not want to question it, so you felt a failure. I know. I wanted you to come to that point where you are able to tell me, I know. I wanted you to figure out where you wanted to go with this, I know. And it's something that it really struck me, because I was expecting him to want a wife who would stay at home with a baby. I was expecting him to consider me a failure somewhat if I would not be able to fill that role. And it was so liberating when I opened my mouth to tell him my needs, and he actually did know it already. He was waiting for me to acknowledge it. How wonderful. Marriage is about friendship, my friend. The person you marry better be your friend, because when you deal with somebody for a sustained period of time, you would definitely have disagreements. You would definitely have times when a person exhausts your patience as a partner. You will have occasions when you are not capable of being generous to somebody who is a spouse. But if that person is a friend, we all have ways of actually expressing our frustrations and our anger to friends much better than we do to spouses. It is better for you to see the person you can defer to. My husband, for example, was my best friend. And so when he annoys me and it's very difficult for me to deal with him as my husband, we defer back to friendship. And I can actually call my friend and tell him, oi, that was unacceptable. Oi, that was ridiculous. Oi, don't go there again. That makes me frustrated. That really gets on my nerves. You can tell that to friends. It's difficult for you to tell that to strangers who happen to be your spouses. So if you asked me for one tip, the most important tip would be to get to know the person you want to marry. Make sure the person shares your vision, ideals. And if the person doesn't share your visions and ideals, you discuss it and you come to acceptance and compromises. And that the person is able to defer and deal with you as a friend when the stresses do come. A person is likely to be more fair to you if they see you as a friend. A person is more likely to come to you with their burdens and difficulties if you are a friend. A person is likely to be comfortable to come tell you your own faults when they see you as a friend. If a spouse doesn't feel comfortable in sharing frustrations, they hold it in, they bottle it in, they keep it in, and then eventually you have a supernova, the explosion, which is out of control, which allows the person to say the most hurtful things without control. A person is able to destroy everything you've built together in one moment of anger because they've bottled it up. It's become pent-up energy for so long, and when it releases, it is an avalanche, fully destructive, uncontrollable. And that's a point you'd never want to get to in a marriage, because once you get to that point, it is very difficult to reconstruct and to forget some of the hurtful things that have been said. To pretend it wasn't said doesn't work, because your brain has heard it, and it always lurks at the back of your mind. It makes you question a person's motive, makes you wonder where a person's loyalty sits, and the minute those doubts come in a marriage, that is the beginning of the end. That is the beginning of the real end, and it takes such an effort to actually redeem it. It is much better you don't get there in the first place, that you are able to keep channels of communication open, that each person is able to express yourself without fear of reproach. It might be unpalatable, but that's what friends do. We tell each other the truth, no matter how unpalatable it is. One of the guiding principles in any union, especially in marriage, is to do unto others as you will have done to yourself. What doesn't make you happy should never be done to a spouse. What you can't tolerate from a spouse should never be done to them. Remember that the person you are marrying is supposed to be somebody you care about, somebody you can treat right. And in the true sense of marriage, when the right partners have actually found each other, you are able to be selfless. You are actually able to extend more courtesies to your partner than you would to yourself. You are able to treat them nicer. You are able to be kinder to them than you are to yourself. If you are able to do that with somebody, then probably that person could be the one you marry. So a lot of people ask, Sister Amma, how do you know you have met the one? There are a few things when you know you have met the one. The one makes you so happy, the one makes you so comfortable that you don't need to pretend to be anything else. The one, it doesn't matter what the physical package is. The one brings you home and you feel so at home. You are so confident in this person. You don't have big doubts. Before you come to any marriage, you should have a list of things that you can't tolerate, a list of things that are absolute no-nos. And when you see those red flags and you see those no-nos, you owe it to yourself to be honest, to be sincere, to bring it up to the attention of the other person and to find out whether it's actually a character trait or something which is a misdemeanor. If it is a misdemeanor, the person can correct it. If it is fundamental and the person cannot do anything about it, the question then becomes, can you live with it sincerely? And that question has to be answered honestly. Can you live with it sincerely? It doesn't matter how rich the guy is. It doesn't matter how beautiful the girl is. If it is fundamentally difficult for you to live with, it will come back to roost. It will come back to bite later on. It is much better for you to be honest about it. Not all partners should end up together. Some character traits are so disastrous when they meet. If you are not capable of respecting a person and a person is not capable of giving you that respect back, you probably should not be a couple. And that's the idea of courtship. You should court a person, you should date a person, you should study a person, and you should come to some conclusions about this person's character. Can I live with it? If you can live with it, we have a chance of going forward. Can I not live with it? Then it's probably not the best thing to do. I will do this in 2 parts. I'm going to stop here because I want to restrict this particular video to 15 minutes, no more. But let me sum up what I have said so far. Marriage can be wonderful. Marriage can be amazing. Having somebody who stands with you, somebody you can be honest to, somebody who knows where you're going, and somebody who champions you and cheers you on, somebody you don't need to pretend to be anything else. It's so refreshing. It is a relief. Knowing that there is somebody standing with you is the greatest comfort. And you get that in marriage. You get that, the security that marriage brings. Somebody that you can grow old together with. Somebody you share your stories with. Somebody you can gossip to and know in absolute security it will never be repeated to another person. I'm one of those lucky people. I have found one. I can tell him anything that's going on in my head, including things about him. Whether it is a positive thing or a negative thing, I have learned to tell him. I don't need to pretend to be anything else in his presence, and that is an absolute relief. I can be the maddest, I can be the craziest. He knows it all, and he chooses to stay. And because he does that, it just makes me so comfortable. The other thing is that when you have somebody that you are married to, you can share burdens with. Some of those burdens are financial, not necessarily financial. When you have an event and there is somebody to cry, or if an available shoulder to cry on, it also brings its own comfort. There is somebody you can ask, what should I do? And you know the person's answer is actually given to you it's given to you with your best interest at heart. It's amazing. It's amazing when you find that person. It is something worth investing into. It is worth joining in.